win the toss, they will receive the Florida Gators coming out through the ramp, out onto the field, and they certainly get a warm welcome for the fans at this Gator Bowl this afternoon, where you have more or less an even split as far as the Parsons fans are concerned. They have a huge 400-pound mechanical gator that they're bringing out on the field to lead the football team onto the field. The mechanical gator is going to be used in a new movie that's going to be premiering very shortly. Georgia offense today will have Buck Ballou at quarterback, 6'1", 188 from Valdosta. And in the backfield will be the usual combination of Jimmy Womack, 205-pound senior from Warner Robins, and Herschel Walker, the freshman from Wrightsville, who is 6'1", 218, and certainly getting all kinds of not only publicity in the South, but nationwide now. At tight end will be Norris Brown, the sophomore from Lawrence, South Carolina, 6'3", 220 pounds. The split end will be Lindsey Scott, 6'1", 188 from Jessup, and the flanker, Amp Arnold, 6 feet tall, 175 from Athens. Up front, on the left side of the line will be Jeff Harper, 6'3", 245 from Macon, and Jim Blakewood at 6'2", 247 from Savannah. The center today will be Joe Happy. He is 6'3", and he will have on his right side Tim Morrison. Morrison starting at guard at 6'3", 254 from Live Oak, Florida. And their way out onto the field. Georgia in pretty good shape physically. The Gators, of course, suffered some injuries earlier this year at quarterback when Hugo went down. They went with Ochab in the ball game against LSU, and then they came on with Peace, and he has played the last 3 games. So they used Hugo in the first 3 games. Ochab basically played all of the 4th game, which was their only loss. He is a senior that started at quarterback last year, and then Peace has come on and played the last 3 games, and those have all been Florida victories. Certainly the injury at quarterback cut down on the scoring output of the Gators initially, but look at how set to go. Everybody in the Gator Bowl starting to rise as Florida will be kicking off to Georgia. Georgia with 2 people back, Scott Warner and Herschel Walker. And here he is to tell you all about it this afternoon with the sun shining brightly on Jacksonville, Florida. From the Gator Bowl, the voice of the Bulldogs, Larry Munson.
All right, get the picture now. Florida's in orange tops and white pants. Orange helmets, white numerals, a little blue trim on the white pants. The Dogs are in white tops. They got the silver breeches with a red trim, red helmet. So they are in white, and Florida is in orange. And everything's sold here, of course, which I guess means just a little under 70,000 paid. So much riding on this one. Time and again now, these teams have come into this game, which turned out to be, I suppose, in the last 15 years in particular, an unpredictable thing. One of them has come in reaching for a piece of a title, and certainly one of them has always come in here looking at a bowl bid. And now today you got them both doing it. Florida, if there has been, well, there's been 2 real surprises in the SEC this year, and that would have to be the LSU and Florida records coming up. Dogs have been a touchdown favorite all week since the first line hit press on Monday morning. Gators are going to kick off. Clark sticks it up in the air. Going to come around the 6 or 7 yard line to Herschel Walker on this side of the 10 to the 15. Trying to come in the middle. They mobbed him on the 16. He tried to get over in the middle where they were going to try to open a seam, and there was no room there at all, and 3 or 4 Gators were really on him. One of them was Tony Lilly, the free safety, number 18, who was in there, and Rod Brooks, a defensive end, also on their kick covering team. Dogs not in a good position, and they are sitting on their own 16, just a little bit across it. Joe Happy over the ball. Arnold split to one side, Scott to the other. Dogs in an eye. They look at a 5-man front, and the fullback Womack twisting for 3 to the 19. He had a little hole at left guard and left tackle, and had to twist to get the yards. Robin Fisher, the nose guard, the guy that primarily knocked them down. Their tackles are 262 and 266. The nose guard is 229. Here it is coming to the fullback. Dogs looking at a power shot. So Florida jams it up in there too. Look at Florida in a 6-4 setup. Dogs put Stewart in motion off to the left. And they go to Walker at the tackle, and they got 1.5 yards, maybe 2, and it looks like a first down. He came outside his left tackle as Stewart, who had gone in motion to that side, cut back in the block. Jackson, the linebacker, Kyle Knight, the strong safety, hit him. And the play went from the 26, not quite to the 28. The gain was 1.5 yards. Probably get credited with 2 yards. I'm not sure of that. But Georgia's got a first down across to 27.
Dogs in the 27.5. Amp Arnold breaks out to the right, Lindsey Scott to the left, and Joe Happy walks up over the ball.
And Florida comes up into a 6-2 now. Buck Bellew looking at it, going to pitch it to Herschel Walker, try to get him outside. He's going to get 5. He's got 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. He needs a block. There goes Herschel. There goes Herschel. Lindsey Scott threw one of the blocks. Womack threw one enough on the backer out on the left side. Herschel Walker has just gone 72.5 yards for the touchdown. He from the left side, the kick is up and the kick is good. Georgia leads 7-0. Timeout here, 30 seconds. This is the Georgia Football Network. Is Brown. John L. Brown. Robinson the kickoff. Dogs leading 7-0, but it's very, very, very early. Robinson kicking off. Tremendous. High, long, high. On the back line of the end zone. So Florida will come out now with its run-and-gun offense that was getting so many points until they lost their number one quarterback early in the fourth game of the year. Then they got conservative. Now they've been opening up more the last week or so. Florida's ball on the 20. Herschel Walker has gone 72.5 yards, actually, technically, that far. Dogs flip-flopping the defense around. Florida in a run-and-gun with one running back now. A big fullback, Jones. They got 4 wideouts. And Wayne Peace, the quarterback. Dogs are in a 4-2. Peace going to throw. Over in one flat is complete. He's down immediately. He had to reach for a ball up around the 28 or so. They got about 8 yards. Mike, second down and only 2. Ball on the 28. He's up to throw. Fakes. He throws again now. And it's intercepted. It came off a receiver's hands. Georgia's going to have the ball around the 41. Mike Fisher out of Jacksonville, Florida, had a ball hit the split end's hands. Who jumped up about 10, 11, 12 yards down, and it came off his hands, and Georgia got an interception. They are on the Florida 41. A break because the receiver had both hands on it and was actually up in the air. I thought that ball was around his numbers. Georgia's got the ball on the Florida 41, and they lead 7-0. And Florida's big Robin Fisher, the middle guard, clapping his hands and hollering at him. The Gators in orange, the Dogs in white. The Dogs got a slot to the left, and the Gators are in a 5-man front. Herschel trying to come out around the left side, no blocking, and they're going to hit him around the 36. He's close to 5 yards. Fernando Jackson, strong side linebacker, hit him. Arnold is split wide. Florida's in that 5-2. Dogs are now second down and 6, and they throw to Arnold. Complete, and a fumble pile up off his hands as he twisted. Florida's got the ball around the 22 or 3. Side left, they're in that run and gun, though nobody's in motion at the moment. Dogs are in a 4-3. Peace comes out. He pitches it out to that big fullback Jones. He's coming wide around the left. And a member of the secondary, Mike Fisher first. Their overback, Chris Welton, hit him up there around the 40 or so. Let's see. He got 4 for sure. They went to James Jones, a 233-pound sophomore fullback. 7-0, Georgia leading early. Dogs are in a 4-3. Peace with one running back, and he shifted. He comes off to the strong side. He dodges around the man and faked him. He's out to the 43, coming wide and going to get shoved out around the 45. Georgia had a defensive man across the line that he faked right out of his shoes, and it enabled him to go from the 40 to the 45 out of bounds and got 5 yards on it.
What Florida does, Larry, in that run-and-shoot offense is that they come up to the line and then they bring the quarterback down the line, and with the secondary retreating and so many people in the zone, they can't get any support from the secondary, and it really puts a strain on that defensive end.
They're down a little over a yard. They're on a 45. They have to go to the 46.5 for a first down. The Gators one running back. They got 4 wideouts. Dogs are in a 4-3, kind of a partially stunted defense. And the big fullback hit in there, and he got hit on the 46. I don't know if he got the 1.5 yards. I know he got 1. He might have the 1.5 yards. James Jones cracking at right guard and right tackle. Jimmy Payne grabbing him. Tommy Thurston, a linebacker for Georgia, grabbed him. Ball is across the 46. I don't know if it's enough or not. I'll tell you one thing. It is going to be a close measurement. Now, from up here, it is splitting the 46. Let's take time out here. 30 seconds. This is the Georgia football net. They missed it about 4 inches, and Florida's going to gamble on her 46 and go for it. They only need about a foot or less. Florida with 4 wideouts. Dogs are in a 4-3. Florida only needs a half a yard or less. And the quarterback gets it straight ahead, 1.5 yards or 2. Big Wayne Peace, the freshman, 6'2", 211, straight ahead. Florida with a crucial first down out on the 47. Georgia leading 7-0 on Herschel Walker's opening, electrifying long run. Gators are on their 47 with that run and gun offense. Dogs making a couple of changes. Bobo came in at the defensive end for one of them. Dale Carver came in at the other end. Georgia's in a 4-3. Florida's got the 4 men out. They got one running back slightly overshifted. They go to him. The hole closed, but he twisted into Georgia territory to the 49 anyway and got 4. Tommy Thurston, the linebacker, hit him. Big 2 men split short right, 7 yards, 2 men wide to the left, about 14 or 15. They're on the Georgia 49, and Peace back to throw, looking as they rush him. He's going long, complete in the 28 and knocked down. He hit Tyrone Young, the flanker, around the Georgia 27 or 28, and Jeff hit the safety man. Was right low around his legs to knock him down. Gain was 22 yards. The Gators knocking on the door. Now, this is the offense they used so much in the first 3.5 games till they lost that quarterback. Now they've started lately and they're using it more and more again. Gators knocking on the door. They trail 7-0. Georgia's in a wide 4-3 now. They go to that big fullback up the middle, and the line grabs him on the 24. He got hit on the 25 and fell down in there to the 24 for about 3 yards. Big James Jones, he'll keep you honest. Carver the end. Frank Ross and Tommy Thurston, the linebacker, hitting him. Second down, 7.5. Ball just shy of the Georgia 24. Gators in orange and white. Dogs are in white, silver. Georgia going to make a change and run a man in again at a defensive end spot. Now they put in another defensive back, Greg Bell, in place of an end. Dogs are really at the moment in a 5-1. Florida on the Georgia 24, second down about 7.5. Pieces coming out, going to run an option, and got grabbed and wrestled down on the 25. Eddie Weaver made a tremendous play at a defensive guard. Eddie Weaver. Peace coming off to the left with an option and a trailing back. Acted like he was going to turn the corner, and Weaver threw him for a yard loss, 3rd down and 8.
The Florida offense just puts a tremendous strain on that secondary of Georgia's. They just string them out from sideline to sideline, and it really puts a real pinch on the defense.
And that one linebacker, Phil, really better be active. Dogs are in a 4-1 again. They're out with all those wideouts. He's stopping back to throw. He lobs a little screen behind the line, complete in the 27, and they hit him and knock him out on the 23. He threw a screen to that big fullback over on the right flat, and the Dogs had pressure on him. And that little out pass only gained 2 yards. A screen to the right side. Dale Carver, defensive end, knocked him down. Dogs had pressure on him as he retreated.
The pressure really helped because the 2 wide receivers on the right side went long, and of course that took the secondary with them and then opened it up on the right side. Georgia reacted quickly, and now a field goal attempt.
Brian Clark, he's hit 10 out of 14 field goals. They're on the Georgia 23, going to kick it from the 30. It's a low flat ball off to the, yeah, it's good. A soccer-type spinning flat ball. Funny ball that sailed through the bars. And a kick is good. It's 7-3. Timeout, 60 seconds, Georgia Football Network. Clark will kick 7-3. We played half a quarter. Tremendous kick, very, very high, and in the end zone. He's going to run it out. Scott Warner to the 5, to the 10, and they're going to hit him around the 12 and really rack him. That ball was too high to be run out, probably because the coverage was already down there. He was 4 yards in the end zone and tried to run it out, and the Dogs now in a bad hole down on their own 12. Very high kickoff. You can get a lot of people down under a kick like that. I remember when Florida took that Minnesota offensive coach, and he'd only coached Minnesota 1 year to put the run and gun in here. We haven't seen a lot of it. We haven't seen any men in motion yet, but it's 7-3, and they've been moving the ball. Gators are in a 5-2. Dogs eye slot to one side. Herschel Walker trying to go in the middle. Somebody blitzed and hit him on the line. Robin Fisher, the nose guard, was the one I think that slithered in and hit him first. Gain was a yard. John Whitaker also went on that stop for the Gators, defensive lineman. Herschel trying to run up in the middle, only got a yard. Ball in the 13, 2nd and 9. They split 2 men wide. Chuck Jones and Charles Jr. Gators in a 5. They pitch it to Herschel Walker. He's being chased. He jumps over a man, going to get 5-6 yards and come up to about the 21. He had a half a step lead on a guy chasing him, and that was Val Brown, a defensive end. Randy Mullinax and the director producer, Hugh Christian. Florida's in that 5-2, one man standing on the left. Somebody blitzed, and they hit Herschel Walker behind the line, 1.5 yards. Ron Coleman, a tackle, broke a tackle. Loss of a yard, and the Gators stopped Georgia on the 19, and the Dogs need a long punt here. Georgia leading 7-3. Unable to drive with it, even though we've intercepted a pass. And, of course, Walker's got that one long run. Gators got 6 men on the line. Ivory Curry is their deep man. Malkowitz going to kick. Good spiral, very high. Coming around the Gator 40. Caught in the 39 or 8 and knocked back. Very quick coverage by Joe Happy. He was retreating back across the 39 trying to catch it and just got knocked flying back as he fought to keep possession. Gators split 4 men out again. Dogs are in that 4-2. Gators a third down, a long 5, almost 6 to go. Peace the quarterback. Back, stops, looks. They're chasing him behind the line. He fires, and out of bounds. Complete out of bounds. Incomplete around the 46. Intended for Spencer Jackson, the split end. It'll be ruled incomplete. He was very close to a first down where he caught it. Now 2 officials are talking to each other. We're going to have somebody overrule somebody. Both teams are gathered around them, especially the Gators. Now the Dogs got 2 or 3 white jerseys. 3 officials got in it. The 4th came up to ask. It's going to stay as being called out of bounds. I believe that's what it is. We've had no sign yet given. Just ruling incomplete. It's an incomplete. Did we have a penalty and turn down, Phil?
Well, I saw the official come over to the sideline and pick up a flag, so there was some discussion going on there. Maybe it was just the flag fell out inadvertently. At any rate, it's all over with, and now Georgia's going to get the ball as Florida set the kick.
Florida's Mark Dickert, best kicker in the conference, looking at a Dog 7-man line, and he kicks. Not real long. Fair catch. Got Warner on the 23 and had a couple men down. He was near this sideline and 2 men covering pretty good. Later, they're in an eye slot. Herschel Walker trying to come outside the end and pull a leg loose. Can't move. No gain. There was 2nd and 9. Buck Ballou back to throw. Looking. He's sprinting out to the left. He throws over the middle and it's complete to the tight end up around the 33. Clarence Kay. Out of Seneca, South Carolina. He had a man holding on the jersey behind him, tugging at him, or he could have had more yards. Fernando Jackson, the linebacker. Ball is on the 32 and a half. The gain was about 7. It's 3rd down and a short yard. The ball close to the 33 as the Dogs come up to the line. 3rd down, about a yard. The gain was really 8. 3rd down, a short yard. Florida in a 5-man front. They go to Herschel Walker. He hit a man head on, and they knocked him back, but he might have a first down first. Boy, did somebody hit him in the hole as he went into right guard and right tackle. He hit a man hard, headgear to chest. And it was Jackson, the linebacker. It'll be a first down. He needed a short yard, and he got a little over a yard, the ball on the 34. A tough first down. Herschel really got hit in that hole. Norris Brown back in, Kay out at the tight end.
On the previous play, Larry, Georgia came out and gave Florida a little dose of their own medicine as they shot that tight end over the middle and gave them a lot of receivers to contend with in the secondary.
Florida in a close 5-2, almost a 5-2-3. They pitched it to Herschel Walker, trying to get him out to the left. No blocking. It broke down. They even wrestled his headgear off as he went down on the 34. No gain. That was Jackson, the linebacker, again. At center, Buck Ballou going to give it to Herschel on the draw at the right tackle, and he's up to the 34-35. He got about 5, maybe 6. I think he got 6 from the 29 to the 35. He had a hole at his right tackle that time. Ron Coleman. Gators are in a 5-2, not quite a 5-3. We try to run the end around reverse. We're running a big tight end out around the 44. No gain. We ran Norris Brown on a big end around wide to his left. David Little, a linebacker, read it well, and a loss of a yard to the 45. 5 inches inside of a 2nd and 9. Buck Ballou sprinting to the right to throw. He's coming wide to the right. He's going to run to the 45, to the 41, to the 40, to the 36-35 out of bounds. Not quite a first down. Buck Ballou came turning wide out around to the right. Got around the corner. Officials talking over on the sidelines. Where did he step out? Right on the 35, I believe. We're going to have a personal foul on Florida. Yes, something happened out of bounds. That's what the Georgia fans were booing for after the play. Ballou in a 5-2. And Buck Ballou to Herschel Walker, cutting back in the middle. They grab at him. 3, 4, 5, 6 orange jerseys as he had penetrated to the 17 and a half, and they knock him back. Herschel had a hole at left tackle. Tim Golden the end on that side. Galloway the tackle on that side, closing on him. And then Fernando Jackson was on the bottom, that linebacker again. But the player was 3 to the 17. Not quite 3. 2nd down and 7.5. Georgia knocking on the door. Buck got 10, and there was a 15-yard penalty on the end of it. This time Georgia splits Arnold left, Scott right. Gators are in a 5-4 at the moment now. And they hand to Herschel Walker cutting in the middle, and they hit him on the 15. He went to the 13. He had a hole at right guard. Robin Fisher, the middle guard or nose guard, tripped his feet out there. But the gain was actually 3 more to the 13 and a half. 3rd down, 3 and a half. Ball shy of the Florida 13. Georgia leading 7-3. If you joined us late, Herschel Walker went 72.5 yards very early. Florida drove it back down and kicked a field goal. And they drove long, about 60-odd yards. Georgia in a power eye, they need 3.5. Buck Bellew sprinting out. He's going to throw to Stewart, complete, touchdown. Oh, flag down back behind the line. Watch it. Flag down behind the line. Penalty would have been on Florida. Did you see Stewart turn around and catch that ball? Ronnie turned around. Buck Bellew hit Stewart in the corner. They hit him and he fell in by half his body. There would have been a penalty on Florida. 13-yard touchdown pass to Stewart, the fullback, down in the left corner. He had a man on him. He turned around and saw it and reached up, turning back to face the passer, and went in there with that orange shirt on him. Georgia leading 13-3. Gators jammed in there in an 8-3 to try and block the extra point. Robinson sticking it up in there. Good. Kick is good. 14-3 Georgia. Timeout. 30 seconds. Georgia Football Network. Robinson going to kick after the penalty from the Gator 45. The Gator side of the 50. He's trying to scrib it. Trying a short side kick. And they dive on the ball on the 30. The Dogs are under there. Georgia trying a short onside kick. Georgia may have the ball. Let's wait and see. There's a pile up around the 29 and 30-yard line. They now say Florida's ball. It looked like a white jersey was on it first. In fact, he's coming up on the bottom now. It's on a 29. That was Dale Carver, a defensive end. But they say it's the Gators' ball. They say Weber Marshall, their number 2 tight end, was a man who apparently got on it with him. Dogs tried a little onside kick, and it scribbed and bounced. It hit a Florida man in the hands, got behind him on a high bounce. It looked like a dog fell on it first, but Florida's got it on their own 29. Dogs are in a 4-2, and the Gators got Peace, that freshman. He's sprinting to the left to throw. He dumps it over the middle, dropped the ball open on the 44. Kurt Garrett, the split end, it hit his right shoulder pad. He was open, running between his 44 and 5, coming into the middle. It'll be 2nd and 10. Go at any moment. They like to go deep for him. They have the last couple of years in a row, maybe 3 in a row. Peace sprinting out to the left, looking. They got in trouble. He dropped the ball. Payne went reaching for it. Payne's got the ball in the Florida 23. Jimmy Payne crawled on his hands and knees and got his arm around the ball. Florida actually had the quarterback, as he retreated, run into a blocker back there as the Dogs had pressure shoving in. Payne was on the ground after everybody bumped and the ball dropped loose, and it is Georgia's ball on a big fumble recovery. It is on the Florida 22 and a half. 14-3 Georgia leading, and we're early, very early, over 13 minutes here in this second quarter left. Got Randolph back in its center, I believe. No, Joe Happy back in its center. Dogs up to the line. 2 men split out. They're on the eye. They go to Herschel Walker coming up back in the middle. He hit a man head on the 20. They knocked him down between the 19 and 20. He hit David Little, that stud of a linebacker that everybody in the NFL is looking at. And the gain was only 3 to the 19 and a half. It'll be 2nd down and 7. They have to go to the 12 and a half for a first down. Georgia on the fumble recovery in good position again. Dogs lead 14-3. Robin Fisher, that nose guard for Florida, hollering at his defensive front. Gators are in a 5-2. It's almost a 5-4, not quite. And Buck Bellew to Herschel Walker coming outside to tackle, fighting, but one man hanging on to him on the 17. He went down close to the 16. That was David Little. The second part of the secondary pretty close. Buck Bellew sprinting to the left behind a couple of blockers. He's going to throw on a run. Intercepted around the 6. Florida's got a man cutting back up the middle, getting loose as Curry. Curry up the middle, 25-30, and knocked down. Florida intercepts. Remember now, she's famous for those things just as the Dogs have been. He threw an interception. Happy, the center hit him. Jim Blakewood, the guard, hit him, and Florida gets the ball back on their own 29. That's the second time the Dogs have had a turnover come up with the ball, and then roughly a minute and a half or 2 minutes later, they cough it up again themselves. They've swapped turnovers again. That's 2 each. 14-3 Georgia leading, and you got 12:05 to go and a half. A lot of time. Dogs are in that 4-2, looking at those 4 wideouts. Wayne Peace, a big freshman quarterback, goes to the fullback, driving in the middle with power, straight ahead for 4, it looks like. Calvin Davis is now the fullback, 5'9", 199, the number 2 fullback. And I know he got 4. Let's see if he got 5. They're going to give him 5 to the 34. Eddie Weaver and Joe Freeman's, the defensive guards, hit him. 2nd and 5. Florida out on their own 34. The Gators in orange. Dogs are in white. Georgia leading 14-3. Got 11:40 to go and a half. Georgia's in that spread, 4-4, and I mean spread. Peace, that big quarterback with 4 receivers out there. He's dropping back to throw again. One man rushing him. firing a little screen flag down, incomplete. The screen pass thrown over the middle, hit between the 40 and 45, intended for Calvin Davis, the fullback. And we'll check the penalty here. Payne and Eddie Weaver. Jimmy Payne, Eddie Weaver, defensive lineman, were blowing up in there. He was really retreating, throwing that screen.
One thing Georgia's starting to do is they're really starting to put a lot of pressure now on Peace at quarterback as he has dropped back a couple of times, and Georgia has really been able to really come with the pressure, and right now they're getting the signals from the official. It looks like they're going to decline the penalty.
Well, they declined it, and Florida becomes 3rd and 5 on their own 34. Georgia leading 14-3. Dogs have been down there twice close in the vicinity of the 20 and have coughed it up. Once on a pass completion dropped in that area when they hadn't lined up that close. Dogs are in that spread 4-4. Florida spreads you. She's got 4 men out, 2 to the right, 2 to the left. The 2 to the left are wide. Peace needs 5 yards on 3rd down. Florida on their own 34. He's looking. He dumps it over the line, and it's complete in the 46 or 7 first down. He went to a big tight end on the right, or one of the 4 receivers out. On Collinsworth, I don't trust that flanker. 4-4, Florida 2nd and 8 on their own 49. Peace straightens and looks, throws out to the left side. He overthrew him, and we head for. And here comes Peace, sprinting back to the right to throw. Looking to the left, he's going on down the side, and it is going to be incomplete, almost intercepted on the 2. Florida's Spencer Jackson went up. Dogs had 2 men in white jumping with him, and Mike Fisher and Tim Bobo, a cornerback and an end, were down deep 40 yards downfield inside the 5 and had a pretty good shot at it, incomplete.
Bobo picked up the man going down the sideline, and then Fisher came drifting over, and Fisher was actually playing the ball, going for the interception, and it just turned out that 3 people arrived at the same spot at one time, and the ball was knocked down.
Early in the second quarter, 9:51 to go, Florida driving her 2nd long drive of the day. Gators on the 38. Dogs come up into a 6-2 at the moment. Peace is looking at it. He hasn't seen that before. He's dropping back. We blitz him. He dumps it out on the right. He overthrew a man on the screen who had blockers down on the 38 to the right. He overthrew Jones because we blitzed and shot in. Chris Welton, their overback, really had strong pressure. Now watch a possible penalty. There's a flag down on the 36. Dogs came blitzing, flying in there. The penalty may be on Florida. Florida is retreating.
They may have had an illegal man downfield there. I'm really not sure what the exact penalty is, but it is coming up against Florida, and that's the first time this afternoon that Georgia has come with the rover back as far as the blitz is concerned. They've been very cautious in the opening phase of the ball game because they don't want to commit that rover and leave themselves vulnerable in the secondary. Let's go down and see what the penalty was about with Lauren.
They got Florida for ineligible receiver downfield, so Georgia will take that penalty and back Florida up.
All right, so now they're walking it off.
Set up. Single running back for Florida. Peace puts a man in motion, a slot man from the left going to the right. They flood the zone. Peace runs to the right. The Dogs chase him. One man missed him back in the 40. He fires out of bounds low, incomplete on the Georgia 44. It was Jimmy Payne chasing him, who dove and missed him 2 or 3 feet behind the line. Went for Tyrone Young, that big flanker. Gators going to be 3rd down and long yardage, and they trail 14-3 with 9:39 left in the half.
You mentioned Young is with his 6'6" height, and I mentioned earlier that he played on the basketball team. In fact, he played forward. Florida has a lot of very tall receivers, Larry, so they give you problems when you get in that one-on-one situation because they're so much bigger than the defensive backs.
Reddy Gilbert, Freeman, Parks, Payne on the defensive front. Bobo's there. Dogs in a 4-2. Florida's 3rd and 25. And Peace dropping straight back across to his 35 to throw. Firing over the middle, completing the Georgia 47. A linebacker chases him, and they hit him around the 36. Nate Taylor. He hit James Jones, that 6'2", 230-pound fullback who came out late across the middle. Boy, they got people to spread you out. And the pass play was 25 yards to the Georgia, 15 yards to the Georgia 37, and that's going to make it 4th and 10. They were 3rd and 25, and now we may have a time call. Timeout, Florida here. Timeout, 60 seconds. Georgia Football Network. Florida's 4th and 10th. There's a quarterback in there now, and they just shifted. You can't tell. They're almost in a shotgun spread. And they got a man in motion to the right. They snap it to the quarterback. They're going to fake it. He fires and complete and then drop. 31, 32-yard line, incomplete. They faked the punt off what looked like a deep shotgun spread. They snapped to the short man, the quarterback, who sprinted right. He had a man open, and he threw it at his shoe tops. And Brown, the tailback in there, could not hang on. And it'll be 4th down there in the Dogs' ball.
Georgia really didn't know what to do. First of all, they didn't have anybody back. They didn't think that Florida was going to punt. Then when Florida did stay in that formation, then Georgia moved a man back deep. Then they had all kinds of movement. Georgia definitely confused defensively on the play.
Georgia's got the ball on their own 37. If he'd hung on, He wouldn't have quite had the first down. They pitch it to Herschel Walker coming out around the left side. Two men smack him hard on the 42. He swept wide out and got about 5. Jackson, right side linebacker. Mike Clark, the left tackle, hit him. Florida got a big defensive front. Everybody's really had trouble with them. The gain was 4, not 5. Ball is shy of the 42, and they started just shy of the 38, really 37 and a half. Georgia's 2nd and 6. Not quite up to their own 42. Georgia leading 14-3. You still got better than half a quarter to go here in the second quarter. Gators are in a 5-man front. Herschel trying to go in the middle. He was bobbling the ball, and there's a fumble, and Florida's got it. Herschel finally dropped the ball. They hit him hard as he went in the left guard around the 44 or 5, and it coughed up to around the 46. And the Gators are going to have it on the 46-yard line. 4 yards ahead of the line of scrimmage. Sonny Gilliam, the cornerback. They jarred it out of Herschel Walker's hands, and now we have an official's timeout here with 8:25 to go in the half. Timeout, 30 seconds. This is the Georgia Football Network. And at 4-3, you talk about pressure on your defense. Man in motion with that run-and-gun offense, and pieces coming out to the left, and they run a reverse. And sprinting wide goes Collinsworth for 5, 10 yards, and they'll knock him down on the Georgia 34-3. They ran a flanker around reverse with a man in motion left. They did a little pitch and reverse back to the right on a naked reverse. Tim Bobo, the end, and Nate Taylor, a linebacker, hit him. The play was 12 yards and a first down on the Georgia 34. This is the wide-open offense they had early in the year as they were eating people alive. Then they got conservative when they lost their quarterback early in the LSU game. Gators are driving again now. Let's see if that fumble is going to hurt the Dogs. 14-3, Georgia leading, getting a little late and a half now. Gators 4 men split out there. Piece the quarterback down on the Georgia 34. His big fullback driving 5, 7, 8, spinning maybe 10, 11 yards. That big 233-pounder really went. They trapped in the middle. And knocking on the door on the Georgia 22. 14-3, Georgia leading. A little better than 7 minutes actually left in the second quarter. Georgia acting like she might blitz again. And Peace going to stand up and throw over to the left side. Complete on the 16 and out of bounds on the 10. Collinsworth made a one-handed catch. Jeff Hipp, the safety man, hit him. And the gain was 13-9. He threw the ball almost past him. He caught it with one hand, pulled it into his chest. Florida acting like she's going to score. They've come down to the Georgia 9. Goal to go for the Gators. 7:15 left in the half. Georgia leading 14-3. Two famous defenses being chopped up. Peace got 4 men splitting a single running back. Georgia's almost in a 6 now. And Peace looking. He's going to dump a pass down in the corner and touchdown. Isolated Collinsworth down in the corner, one-on-one with a dog cornerback, and he turned and went up just before he went out of bounds, and it's 14-9. The Gators have driven after that fumble less than half the distance. They've cut it to 5 now. Clark to try a field goal, and Bickert will hold it. Georgia 9 men on the line, and the kick is good. It's 14-10. Plenty of time left in the half. Pause 30 seconds. Georgia Football Network. Kick, I'm guessing at that. Kicking from the hash marks. He's kicking far to one side, and Herschel Walker catches it on a run and steps out of bounds around the 20. I'll get now to go in the books. Clark kicks off again from the hash marks here on the west side of the stadium, kicking toward that far side, and this time he sticks it up in that sun. Herschel Walker can't see it. Gets on the 2 by his feet and runs back in the end zone, and he has to down it. That's why they were doing that. I thought about the sun the first time he tried it. You could see Herschel Walker backing up between the 5 and about the 2 to catch it, and at the last moment he dropped his hands. He could not see it. Florida deliberately planted, so he had to look in the sun. So the Dogs line up on the 20. He sailed that ball flat end over end. Dogs on their own 20, 80 yards away from it, leading only 4 points, 14-10. They're in an eye, of course. 2 men split out. The Gators are in a 5-3 this time. Buffalo going to fake to the full and come out around to the right side. Going to get a block behind himself to the 23-24 and go down after about 4 yards. Tim Gold in the end, 224-pound senior hanging on to him, and Buck got 4. He had a man pulled with him who turned and saw a tackler coming up behind him as he came to the corner and cut that man down, and Ballou got 4, 2nd and 6. Florida's David Little, a senior out of Miami, is 6'1", 228. linebacker, number 51, and he is something. So in the first quarter, Fernando Jackson led that team in tackles, I'm sure. The other linebacker. Dogs in an eye, 2 men split, 5 men front. They try to run a trap with Herschel. Somebody knocked his feet out on a blitzing dive. Whitaker, I believe, the nose guard. Galloway, the tackle, had an arm on him, and Herschel's going to fall for no gain on the 24, 3rd and 6. We ran a trap or draw in there, and somebody rolled a block in there or was coming in low, and his feet went out. Chuck Jones, the flanker, in. Dogs unable to move. 14-10, Georgia leading. Herschel Walker with a long run. Buck Ballou with a short touchdown pass. Dogs got to one side, and Chuck Jones to the other. And we take a draw, and Ballou's going for a bomb long down the right side, and Lindsey Scott caught it. Now they say he had a foot out of bounds on the 29. Lindsey Scott upset, pounding the ground. Sonny Gilliam covering him. Buck went long bomb down the right side, 50-yarder or better. Scott catching it, but apparently had a foot out of bounds. I saw Herschel Walker come over the line 8-9 yards and stand there waving for that ball.
Oh, he was wide open. There wasn't any doubt about that, but I think Buck had already felt that he could hit Lindsey with the bomb down the right side, and Lindsey made a miraculous catch. Tremendous concentration because the coverage was there. But apparently he came down on the sideline, and now Georgia has to punt.
Florida, 7 men on the line, but lined up like they want to set up a return. Malkowicz kicks low end over end, not deep. Hits in the 44, bounces straight up in the air, 43-yard line, 42, 41, going to roll that around the 40. Not a great kick. Florida had 3 blockers, back to 1 running back. They're on their own 40, and Peace going to throw again. He's retreating. Got time. Dumps it over the middle, complete on a 45. He's going to get a first down of the Georgia 48. They recovered Herschel Walker's fumble a few minutes ago, and then they drove it in there. That is, they threw it in there. They got that 1 running back. And they got those 4 wide outs. He's looking short, throwing to the left. Complete, and they hit him right away. Flag down, back in the line of scrimmage. He hit Dixon, a reserve split end over on the left side for about 5 yards. Greg Bell, a cornerback who just came in, made the tackle. A Florida lineman may have moved. Florida's expecting a short penalty the way they're acting. They have been most of the time since the freshman came in. Georgia's in that almost a 4-1 setup, and Pieces back to throw again, back across his 40. They chase him behind the line. He got away. To the 45, to the 50, and got hit on the Georgia 47, a gain of only about 3. Tommy Thurston had to hit him. He had 2 men chasing him behind the line. Tim Crow out of Stone Mountain, 250-pounder, also up there to grab him. Thurston hit him first, Crow hit him second. I call Crow 250, he's 230. Freddie Gilbert in defensive end, Dale Carver out. Gilbert a freshman. Florida's 3rd and 9. He got 4 yards on that play to the Georgia 47.5, about where it is. Florida 3rd down, got 3.5 minutes and a half, 14-10. Peace got a back shifted to the right. There's a single running back again, and now Peace is sprinting right. He's got blocking. He stops. He's going long down the side, and it is caught out of bounds, and we had a defender right with him. Scott Warner right up in the air with Kurt Garrett, 191-pound split end. They were both out of bounds a few inches as they went down. He threw to the side where both receiver and defender have to turn and look up into that Florida sunshine.
That time Florida did just what Georgia had done on the previous play with coming the other way, and the same results when the man was hugging the sideline and there just wasn't enough room to maneuver as they had Scott Warner stuck out there in a one-on-one situation.
Florida's 4th and 9 on the Georgia 47 with 3:19 to go and a half, 14-10. Georgia by 4 points. Florida last minute running somebody in. Mark Dicker, the kicker, was in. They ran somebody else in, and I think Florida wants to call time here before they punt. Dogs got 7 men on the line. Florida 4th down, 9. Dicker the kick. And they got off a good spiral. Scott Warner lets it slide out of bounds around the 20. Scott looked like he was going to catch it, trying to draw him straight at him. He's on the hash marks around the 9, and the ball was coming out of bounds already to Scott's right. It was off the kicker's left side to the 21, only a 24-yarder. Georgia on the 22, actually, and the Dogs will line up on their own 22. Another kick was about 25 yards. Georgia's on the hash marks on this west side. Late in the half, 3:11. It has been a long second quarter. Dogs up to the line. Wayne Radloff over the ball. Buck Ballou looking. Florida has gone into a 4-3. He pitches to Herschel Walker, trying to get him to the corner. No room. They're going to spin him outside around the 23 or so. Try to get him over to the short side, and Florida had it jammed up over there. Tim Golden, a senior defensive end. Not moved much, only got a yard, 2nd down and 9. If you joined us late, I doubt you did, Herschel Walker broke a long one early, 72.5 yards. But it has been something.
Herschel's already run the ball, Larry, 20 times in the ball game.
Dogs, 2 men split out, 2nd and 9. Georgia on their own 23. They pitch to the Herschel Walker, trying to get him wide to the left. He's going to get a block. Going to get 5, 10, 15, 17 yards or so up around the 39 or 40. Did you see Womack hit that guy on the corner? From the 23 to the 39 for 16. Gold in the end, and David Little, the linebacker, hit him. Somebody down. Amp Arnold, the flanker, is hurt over there in front of the Georgia bench. Georgia's got Amp Arnold, the flanker, hurt. What do you got, Lauren?
It looked like Amp got hit from the side. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't look good. He's really in a lot of pain. I don't know if it's a knee or a leg or something, but we'll find out in just a moment. They're getting him up to bring him off the field. But I was going to comment on Womack's block. I guess you could see it as well up there. It really was a powerful block, and it was the same kind of block that sprung Herschel earlier in the game. So they apparently still feel that even though Florida defensively is marking Herschel, that they still can run the ball, especially wide with some of the sweeps and corner stuff.
Amp Arnold up, limping, right leg or knee. There goes that tremendous flanker, Amp Arnold, out of Athens, being helped off the field. He's hurt his right knee, apparently. That's a bad sign. Well, we lost the starting center for the year. We may, I'm guessing, have lost the flanker now. Lost the tight end, James Brown, who was alternating with Norris earlier than that. High slot to the right. Georgia on Walker's running. Womack's block got a first down to 39. Buck out to the right. Wants to throw. Fires and dropped low. He threw it on the grass as Scott came back wide open on the 50, went down to his knees, couldn't hang on to it. Ballou threw it on the ground. It'll be 2nd down. We've got to have an air arm today for sure, because this is too much defense. The Gators are sticking out there on us.
Lindsey Scott ran a nice pattern that time, and Chuck Jones was also in the same area, and they took the defensive backs deep, and then Scott came back quickly, but the pass was thrown a little bit short, and now Georgia is 2nd and 10.
Dogs in their own 39, late in the half. Florida comes up into a 5-2. Try to run a trap with Herschel. No room. They just jam him up. They only got a yard. Florida sensed it. No draw, no hole. Got a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 9. 2:31 to go in the half. It's 14-10. Georgia by 4 points. Tell you one thing, that freshman quarterback, Florida Scott, can really throw the ball, because we've had such great pressure on him. They better keep the pressure all day or they want to stay alive. Doc Lucky, the first man that hit him, a 262-pound senior tackle, and he has come limping off. Ron Coleman has come in at a defensive tackle on that right side for Florida. Florida's gone into a 4-3. Buck Ballou fakes a trap, back to throw, looking, going to run straight ahead to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, got a partial block, 45 out of bounds, Florida territory, first down. Jim Blake with the guard, is he the one that threw the block? Jim Blake with the guard. 15 seconds and a half. Ballou back to throw. Going to go down long on that left side. Intercepted by Florida, and then out of bounds around the 20. Too much time on the field. We're in a 4-3. Florida's 3rd down long yardage. Peace jump, fake the pass. He sprints out to the right. Payne dives and misses. He's got 5, 6, 7 yards or so and out of bounds. Kicker, best kicker, and somebody took a shot at him and missed him. Long, high kick caught by Scott Warner in the 25. He's in trouble hard around the 28. They pitch it to Herschel Walker to try to get him out. He runs head-on into a man and drives him 3 or 4 yards, enough to get maybe 4. That was Tim Gold in the end, a big 6'1", 224 senior. Buck Ballou looking, goes sideline pattern, complete and out of bounds to stop the clock in the 36. Chuck Jones threw a little short pass. We haven't thrown much short stuff today. Pass play was 4 yards. Clock stop was 6 seconds. Georgia's figuring we're going to throw it deep. And Ballou's going a long bomb in the middle, overthrew his man, and intercepted and dropped on the 13. Florida had a man there. He went long for Lindsey Scott, overthrew him 4 or 5 yards. It's a kickoff for the Dogs, who only lead by 4. Long, high, deep kickoff, and it'll be down in the end zone as it should be, 3 or 4 yards deep, by Ivory Curry, one of the deep backs that have been flanking Brown, the deepest back. And the Gators will line up on the 20. Well, hang on to your shoes now, because here comes the run and gun. They have not done a lot of man and motion stuff, but some. 14-10, Georgia by 4 points. Now, I don't know if Amp Arnold can come back today or not, and I'm not sure either how much Herschel Walker's ankle is bothering him. Dogs, you're in a 4-2. The second part of the 4-4 is spread back. Now the top part of the secondary is coming down pretty good. We're kind of in a 4-5 virtually. Here comes Peace, running, sprinting out to the right. And he's going to throw a long bomb down the right side. He missed him 4 or 5 yards, and he threw it out of bounds. And that is in a 5-2 with a gap in the middle of it. And we fake to Womack. No, Womack keeps it and comes straight ahead. He ran in that hole that the Gators gave us in the middle of that 5-man front, and they got 4 yards. Kind of standing up 5-2. We try to go to Walker to tackle. There's no hole at all. There's no blocking as he tried to slant on the right side. And Tim Golden, that big senior end, and Fernando Jackson, the strong side linebacker, stopped him right there. No gain. 3rd down and 6. He got about a half a yard. Third pitches the ball to Herschel Walker, who cuts striding off over the 50, goes blowing down close to a first down around the 47 or 8 in Florida territory. He's close to the 48. It might be a first down. I think he got 7 when he needed about 6.5. The officials said they're going to measure. Robin Fisher, the nose guard, got him. We went to the strong side with Herschel Walker. A little pitch shot him back off to the left. The man had pulled with him. From up above, he got 7 yards. It is a first down. They decided now not to measure. Citadel 7, South Carolina nothing first quarter. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech nothing first quarter. North Carolina 14, Clemson 6 at the half. I'll have to check some of these later. Baylor's killing Arkansas 28-7. But below going to hand it on a sprint draw to Herschel Walker. Going to try to get him wide outside of the right to the 50. They got him corner 45-40, 35-30. Somebody rolled a block into our blocker, knocked him out around the 30. Left to right. Florida's in a 4-4 now. But Ballou looking at it from the 17-yard line. Going to give it to Carney Norris, cutting him back in the middle, trying to fall the blockers, cutting back to the right, and maybe got the 5 back. I know he got 4. Carney had a hole in the middle, and then he jumped to the right. Down at 11, and Buck fakes it, and he bootlegs out to the left. Under pressure, going to turn the corner and get down inside the 10 to maybe the 8. Bootleg around wide to the left side and had a blocker there with him. And it was Ronnie Stewart, the fullback, with him. And the play was 4 more to the 8. Georgia's 3rd down on the 8.5. They went from the 12.5 to the 8.5. Herschel Walker in, Carney Norris out. Chuck Jones of Valdosta coming back into the flanker. Charles Jr. out. He's from Waycross. Gators are Clark, Fisher, Coleman, Brown, and Golden up in that front. They're technically in a 4-5. They're in a 4-5 really on the front. Buck Ballou sprinting out to the right. Herschel throws a block. He's going to throw one in the corner, and it is incomplete. Almost intercepted on a dive on a 1-yard line by Ivory Curry, the cornerback. Dogs have been stopped here out on the 8.5. Pause 10 seconds. Station identification, Georgia Football Network. 1-yard line, that's a hash mark angle kick, and the kick is up there. Good. Rex Robinson sticks it in. 17-10 Georgia early in the 3rd quarter. Timeout 30 seconds. This is the Georgia Football Network. Yeah, there's a little cloud cover at the moment. John L. Brown, the deep man for the Gators on the 2. Rex Robinson sticks it up high and long and deep, and he's going to down the ball 4 or 5 yards deep in the end zone. Dogs by 7. Peace looking at a 4-man front, dropping back to throw, and they're going to rush him. 1 man missed him. He looks now and dumps it over the middle, and it is incomplete. On the 37, Nate Taylor diving on a man, and that was Calvin Davis, a fullback, who died. He's coming out around the right. He pitches it back late and delayed to the fullback, and 2 dogs hit him on the 34. Pat McShay, they ended him first. Chris Welton, a roverback, was over there, and who is the 3rd man? Coming up, he pitches to Herschel Walker right to the right, trying to get him a block to get him out, and he's going to turn the corner and get 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. He drives into a man and knocks him back 3.5 more yards down around the 40. Ivory Curry, the cornerback. Herschel got enough blocks right on the line, and he veered out to the right. And the gain was 12 and the first down of the Florida 40. Behind, goes to his fullback, driving, pushing his legs, goes Womack 6 or 7. Flag down, wait a minute. Flag down, watch it now. Flag down around the 33. Our producer, Hugh Christian, jumped in thinking it may be a face mask grab. Womack came straight ahead and got a big 7, and they are expecting a penalty on the Gators, at least Georgia is.
Larry, they just gave the face mask penalty, so Hugh Christian was right.
10-11, down around the 3, turned a somersault there. Hey, Herschel's kind of picking his way a little bit. He's showing a little move. Herschel went from the 18 to about knee at the ground in the 3.5. He got 14 yards. Fernando Jackson, a linebacker, rolled his feet. Herschel Walker got between 14 and 15. And the Dogs are down in the 3.5 and knocking on the door, trying to stay unbeaten in America. 17-10, Georgia leading 6-11 in the 3rd quarter. Chris McCarthy had been in there at 4 on that play. McCarthy has come out. Womack back in. I think Womack and Stewart are both in. We're in a power eye. Florida's jammed in at 8-2-1. Herschel drives at left tackle, and they knock him back 2 yards. When he's back in a tackle, they run a pitch to Herschel, try to get him out. He cuts back in and goes maybe to the 1.5. We try to swing him out left. He cut in. We try to turn that corner. Look at Florida play tough in here. Remember, they'd only given up just a fraction over 11 points a game into this one. Curry, the cornerback, and Fernando Jackson, the strong side linebacker, hit him, and the gain was 2 just inside the 2-yard line. It is third down, a little less than 2 yards to go, 1.5 maybe. Front nose of the football is 1.5 yards out. Dogs are trying to slug it in there, power everybody close. Look at Ford in that 8-3. Look at that defense. We run Stewart in motion to the right. Florida drifts with him, and Buck Ballou comes down and looks to get in trouble. He tries to run, and they knock him down. Can't gain. Buck was looking at Stewart in the end zone, and also he had Clarence Kay, a tight end, in the end zone. And they may have held us again in there. They stopped us on the 8.5 a few minutes ago. And now, thanks to David Little, a linebacker that time, they stopped us on the 3. We lost 1.5 yards on the play. As Buck came out, it is fourth down on the 3. Dogs have been stopped again down there close. 4:12 to go. Rex Robinson in.
And Ronnie Stewart was breaking open at the time the tackle was made.
Floyd and a 6-5 set up for the try for the block kick, and the kick is up looking good. Good. Robinson sticks it in there. 20-10. Timeout 30 seconds. This is the Georgia Football Network. Georgia fans up roaring. Robinson kicks it very, very high. Backing up in the end zone. Going to down the ball is Ivory Curry. Deep 5-6 yards. And Florida will put it in play, getting a little later in the third quarter. Out on their own 20. And Peace goes to the left, looks, fires over the middle, falling down, catch complete on the 45. By Kurt Garrett, the split end. Florida throwing and throwing, very wisely short, dumping it short and hitting him. But down. Peace is dropping back to throw. Payne chases him and got him back in around the 30. Jimmy Payne out of Athens got him back there. Knee at the ground on the 31. The loss was 14 yards. And it will now be third down and long yardage. Dogs leading 20-10, 2:45 to go in the third quarter. It is a long way from being over. Dogs had Tim Crow in there on the defensive line on that play for Weaver to give him rest after the play before. Cremens has now come in. He and Parks and Payne, I think, at the front.
Well, you could really see the Georgia defensive line digging in, and they were really teeing off that time, and of course they can do that. They know what's coming.
Third down, Florida and 24 on their own 31. Man in motion right. Are they going to go deep? Here comes Peace running out. He's going to keep it. He's got room and blocking. 34-35 up to the 39 and hit hard on the 40. Fumbled as he went out. Georgia came up with the ball. Scott Warner did, but I guess he was out or dead already. Frank Ross, the man that hit him, and the play gained 9 to the 40. Florida's fourth. And put it on the 39. The play gained 8. Florida's 4th and 16, and in a kicking situation, and the Georgia fans are roaring for the defense.
Tommy Thurston forced that play to go to the sidelines, Larry, and there was almost a clip against him as he ran that play to the side.
Dogs go on a 7-man front. Bickert the punt around his 25, and he got his foot into it. Long, high, good kick. And fair catch. Scott Warner down on one knee on the 25. It'll be the Dogs' ball there. 2:02 to go here in the third quarter. In a 5-2, Buck Ballou pitching to Herschel Walker, coming to the left. He needs a block. He's going to get 5-6 yards. Running with toughness, pushing somebody the last stride, and he went from the 25 to the 31. On the right side, and the Gators are in a 5-2, almost a 5-3. Third down and 3, fake to the fullback, and they knock Buck down 2 yards behind the line. Somebody blitzed and caught him. He faked to the full. They had Herschel Walker trailing, but they grabbed him. Mike Clark, 241-pound, number 2 defensive tackle, a 6'4 senior, hit him for a 2-yard loss. Dogs trying to go off to the left or short side. It's 4th and 5. They'll have to punt. 20-10. They needed a drive there, and now Mark Malkowitz in punt formation, and let's see if Florida are going to put. Here they come. And they put 9-man, and he barely got it off. Long kick, long spiral, and caught on the 21, and they're going to mob him inside the 20. They knock Malkowitz down late. The Dogs think he fumbled, and they're pointing. They think they've got the ball. 48-yard kick. Ivory Curry retreating across the 20, as he called it, and the Dogs just knocked him, driving back. They put it on the 19. Joe Happy and Wayne Radloff both down there. And the Dogs thought they had the ball, but it's the Gators' ball on the 19.
Obviously, the whistle blew immediately, and the Georgia players felt like the official wasn't even watching the play.
Malkowitz had a good kick. Florida 81 yards away from it, 20-10. Time for a play, maybe 2. But no more than that here in this third quarter. Man in motion off to the left side. And here comes Peace sprinting left, going to throw out in the flat, complete. He broke a tackle, and he's going to be knocked down first down, I believe. He broke a tackle off a cornerback. Byron Young, big Peace coming back to throw. Going long down that side, and it is Incomplete, almost intercepted by Jeff Hipp on our 28. Boy, did he go up and get position. He just dumps it over the line, complete. And enough, and he breaks the tackle. He got 5. There he goes. Tyrone Young breaks another tackle. 35, 30, 25, 20. One man, Scott Warner, got him around the 12. He broke 2 or 3 tackles. They just dumped it over the line for 30, 40, 51, 54 yards down to the Georgia 11. Scott Warner came across. The blocker didn't turn in time. Dogs have a man running out, Greg Bell, with an arm hanging down his side. He may have gotten hurt. They dumped it over to that big 6'6" giant flanker who caught it and broke the tackle, and they went 54 yards. Here's Florida very, very, very early in the fourth quarter, about to cut the gap. They're on the Dogs 11. Dogs need something to happen. They come up what amounts to a spread 6-5 defense, and he hands it to the big fullback, and touchdown. Hash marks on the west side going for 2. They're 4 points down. We've almost got the whole quarter. We've only played about 40 seconds into it, or a shade over. Peace puts a man in motion with the run and gun, and the Dogs try to blitz in on him. And one man, Welton, missing the overback. He throws. Good. A Dog Roverback came off the blocker and dove at Peace and could not quite yank him down, and he hit Tyrone Young low and barely in the corner for 2 points. Now it's 20-18. You can see where the momentum has absolutely gone to the other side of the field. Timeout here, 30 seconds, Georgia Football Network. Quarter to go. There he kicked it long and powerful, and it is going to be caught by a short back on the 19 who falls down on the 20, Womack. Womack running across a very high ball. The Florida covers very, very well when it's kicked that high and that short. Womack tried to turn and come back to the middle and slipped and fell, and then they knocked him down inside the 20. Florida's got all the momentum going now, that run and gun. Remember, nobody stopped it until the starting quarterback got hurt early in the LSU game. They lost that one, and here they came back, slowly putting it back in with a new quarterback. Dogs are on their own 20 inside, needing to move, only a little 2-point lead. Run a man in motion, and that's Chuck Jones, a flanker, wide off to the right. They pitch it to Herschel Walker, who needs a block. He needs a block. Womack gives him a block, and he's up over the 30-35. He fumbled the ball, but I think the whistle had possibly blown. Ivory Curry, the cornerback, finally getting him, coming across, trying to help with Kyle Knight, the strong safety. The gain was 13 out to the 33. 13 and a half. You could see Herschel pushing that blocker in front. The man in motion, Chuck Jones, cut back in to help open the corner up by cutting in and knocking a man down, and then Herschel came wide to the right. Dogs to the slot right to the short side. Florida's in that 5-3. We run a man in motion out to the wide side of the field. Ballou looking at it. And Buck going to give it to Herschel. No blocking. They grabbed him and hit him right there. He tried to slant to the short side and maybe got a yard. David Little, a linebacker. Tim Gold in the end really played it well. And the gain was a yard. 2nd down and 9. We're early in the fourth quarter. The Dogs barely hanging on 20-18. Two of America's finest defensive football teams, and they're both leading the whole nation in turnovers, and the Dogs have coughed it up 4 times today and lost it 4 times. Florida's lost it twice. Florida's in a 5-2. They're technically in a 5-5 spread. Buck Ballou wants to throw. Got time again. Dumps it over the middle of Herschel Walker. He fell down wide open on the 36. He accidentally fell down. We've waited for that call a long time. He was open and had a blocker, and he slipped and fell as he caught it on the 37. 7.5, they pitch it to Herschel Walker, trying to get him out. No blocking. They just rack him up a yard behind the line. The blocking broke down. The Gators acting like they are a stronger team on defense at the moment. Dogs try to sprint out wide to the left. Lost a yard on the play. Kyle Knight, the strong safety, came roaring up there to help him, and he's down at the moment, the man that is hurt. Georgia's going to be 4th down and about 8.5 and have to kick, but there's a man hurt. We got better in 12 minutes. Anything can happen. Timeout here, 60 seconds. This is the Georgia Football Network. 55-yard kick desperately. We're on our own 35, 4th and 8.5. Ivory Curry, the deep man for Florida, with 3 blockers about 10, 11 yards in front of him. Malkowitz got time. He kicks a long, beautiful punt. Long kick coming around the 23 or 4. Curry's got on the far side, and they hit him right there on the 24. Good coverage. Dogs have men down there. Ronnie Stewart, the fullback. Joe Happy down there, 41-yard kick. And listen to the Florida fans roaring because they know they're going to throw those bombs at us. Florida's got the ball at their own 24, and they haven't coughed it up since the first quarter. But you remember both teams coughing it up twice in the first 15, 20 minutes, and then both teams immediately coughed it up back to the other guy. They didn't get hurt till the 5th turnover of the game when the Dogs fumbled down their own 46. Dogs are in a 4-2. Florida man in motion with all those wide men are on their own 24, and he keeps it in bootlegs out to the right for 5, 6, 7 yards. Good call. With everybody going left except one receiver, Peace bootleg and snuck out and got 8 to the 32, and Tim Bobo, the end, had to play that and yank him down from behind. Florida's doing everything with his offense. I remember how the Minneapolis papers raved about it when they put it into Minnesota only 1 year ago. Here comes Florida up on their own 32. They got 4 men split out. Dogs are in a 4-2. Florida trying to move again, only 20-18, but Georgia's leading that big flanker in motion to the left. And the fullback running 5, 6, 7 yards, driving in the middle. Georgia's defense looking very, very tired now. Eddie Weaver was hanging on to James Jones, who blew 6 more yards up to the 38. And they go to that big fullback who got hit on the line. He jumped back in the middle and got a couple, almost didn't get anything. He went to right guard. Georgia wouldn't move there. He's going to come off running to the left to throw. They chase him behind the line. Another man missed him way back in the 25. Then he throws complete to the 50. We almost threw him for about a 15-yard loss, but he broke the tackle. 2 men had him behind the line, and he hit Chris Collinsworth up around the 48-yard line, and back sneaks for a first down right up the middle, about 1.5 yards. Florida got 9 minutes and 41 seconds to try to get on top. Defense, that big fullback got into the line, lunging for 5 to the 25. We hit him on a 27, but he stretched that big 6'2" body out and got 25. Parks hanging on to him. Nate Taylor. Florida eating up yards in big chunks now, 2nd down and 5. And a Gator was slow coming up, Doug Smith, the center. He third down 4 is all Florida needs for the first down. The setup now with men out spread wide is fine. He's going to throw. Incomplete on the 23. It hit a defender. Nate Taylor on the chest. He almost intercepted. Nate Taylor jumped over the line. He hit him on the chest of the headgear. Intended for the fullback, breaking over the middle. It's 4th and 4. Florida now will go for a field goal to try to go ahead for the first time in the afternoon.
Well, Georgia put good pressure on the quarterback that time. They made him throw, and of course he was trying to throw to the left side. He did not want to throw into the sun. Now the field goal attempt.
Ryan Clark, 6'2", 192 out of Sarasota. Dicker to hold on the 30. And he tries a field goal. It looks long enough. Watch it. Good, I think. Yes, good. Florida leads 21-20. Dogs defense worn to a frazzle. Timeout here, 30 seconds. Georgia Football Network. Florida leading. And he kicks it. And it hooks to the left. Herschel Walker going to down it 4 or 5 yards deep in the end zone. Here now. Everybody move. Dogs moved before Buck ever put his hands in the ball. Georgia made a mistake. This has been our day to make mistakes for the first time this year, and we have made a bunch. Put out wide, try to pitch it to Herschel to get him out. No room, no, let him run at all. No blocking on the left. They knock him down maybe a yard behind the line. Florida's 2 keyed high, and the Dogs look tired maybe. Ball back on the 13, 2nd and 11. 5-3, Buffalo faked the draw. He looks. He's going down the middle, and it is incomplete. 3 men covering the deep man, Chuck Jones, on the 45. It'll be 5-2, and he's back to throw again. He's going long down the left side, and Lindsey tried to turn around, throwing too far to the right. Jennifer Scott throwing about 5-6 yards out inside of the field. Incomplete. Dogs try to throw it a mile, and he kicks long spiral. Curry way back on his 31, stops. Try to go in the middle, and the Dogs cover him and knock him down around the 30 or 31. They go to the fullback, driving Jones. They keep resting him for 4 or 5 minutes at a time and running him in. He just got 5 right up the middle. They got a first down. They really have it going their way. Dogs in a 4-1, looking at the 4 wideouts also, of course. And he's going to dump it across the line, complete to that big flanker, and they hit him, but he's got a first down on the 44. Florida wisely throwing it short, and hitting those little short ones. And they go to the fullback, and they hit him right on the line right there, and they won't let him move. On the 44, 2nd down. Look at the clock. 4:06, 4:05. Florida leading 21-20, and the clock running.
Georgia that time really tried to rack the fullback up as he came up the middle. Tried to knock the ball away. They're trying to do everything they can to jar the ball loose. They realize they've got to have a turnover right now, and they've got to do something defensively. Meanwhile, the quarterback looking to the sideline, and again, they're taking an awful long time out there on the offense.
He might let it go. No, they got to stop clock now. Off to the right, and Peace going to pitch it outside to a running back up to the 47 or 8. He went to the big Jones and pitched it as he came sliding down the line to the left from the 44. Where did he step out? Third down, about 6 and a half. They have to go to the Georgia 46. They're up on the 47 and a half. Florida's third down, 6 and a half. They lead 21-20. The clock running in their favor. Four-man front Piece spinning out to the right side. McShay chasing him. He missed him. He's back on the 40. He throws over the middle, complete, and then he dropped the ball on the 38 and it went out of bounds. They're going to rule incomplete. What do they rule? Are they going to rule it's complete and then it went out of bounds? That's what they're asking. Georgia won't like it. He hit him on the Georgia 38 after being chased again 15, 18 yards behind the line. He hit a man, Fallinsworth, I think, and it coughed out of his hands and went out of bounds. It's Florida's ball on the 38. Georgia now staring at only 3 minutes left and the clock running. He hit another pressure pass, and if you think that isn't some quarterback for a very young freshman who's played half a season. 4 wideouts. They come driving to the Georgia 38, and they lead 21-20. And driving goes Terry Williams, the number 2 fullback at right tackle for a couple of yards. 2:52:49. Gators won't drop it. They won't make a mistake. They coughed it up twice early. We coughed it right back to them since then. They haven't made a mistake. They've been really doing that all year. They have not been giving it up to hurt themselves. Today they did twice, and we did right with them and couldn't use them. And finally, on the 5th turnover of the game, which was a dog fumble out on the 46, the Gators capitalized on that one. Look at them. Let that clock run down. They're going to call time now? Yes. They let the clock run 20-some seconds down to 2:24 to playing the clock. They know everything's in their favor now. And they got down on the Georgia 36, 2nd and 8. Timeout, 30 seconds, Georgia Football Network. The ball second down. They've got excellent field position, and Larry, right now, everything is in their favor. Yeah, and Phil, they've taken some of the receivers out. They've gone into an eye now, going to keep it on the ground to stall out the clock for the win. There's 2:20 to go. They just won't make a mistake. Dogs come up in a tight 6-2-3, and they run to the tailback, and they really rack him on the 36. Doug Kellum carrying it for the first time today. They ran to an eye. From up here, he got a half a yard. Eddie Weaver met him head on and jammed him in the hole, and Georgia called time to stop the clock with 2:13 to go, and the ball right on the 36. No gain. It's going to be 3rd and 8, and Georgia stopped the clock. Timeout, 30 seconds. Georgia Football Network.
Give the ball to Georgia with about 2 minutes left to go, or maybe a minute and a half.
Yeah, it'll probably only be a minute and a half. That quarterback will have some career if they stay in this run and gun. He's just a freshman. Played half a season. Now they got 2 men, 2 running backs, got 2 tight ends and 1 flanker, and he keeps it and tries to bootleg, and the dogs hit him behind the line. That's Tim Crow, who got him from behind, who blitzed off or broke a block off one side, and Tim Crow threw him for a 4-yard loss back to the 40. 4th down, minute 57, minute 56. Here's the most important punt of the game. Florida's 4th and 12, back on the 40. There won't be much time left when the dogs finally get their hands on the ball. Be very, very little. And our long passing game has not done well today at all. Dicker kicking for Florida. Beautiful high kick. Let's see where it's going to strike now. Out of bounds on the 7. Boy, he angled it great. And Georgia's got 92 and a half yards to go in only 95 seconds. He kicked it high, 33-yarder, and when it struck on the point, it kicked to the left in favor of the kicker. We have stayed unbeaten all year long. But here we are now, inside our own 8, and only 95 seconds. You can't drive it. You've got to have a long run or a long pass, or a short pass turned into a long run with it. UGAAINC split out. Gators drop back to a 4-3 with the snap. Ballew's in the end zone to throw. He's in trouble. He's running out to the right. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out of bounds. Dropped the ball as he ran out. Oh, they say he stepped out way back in the 7 or so. It looked like he got up to about the 10, but apparently he stepped out back around the 7. David Galloway, a 6'3", 266-pound tackle, chasing him out. Well, the conference is right what they said about the Florida defense. Dogs get a lot of yardage on that ground. Not enough. 2nd and 10, the clock stopped, 85 seconds. Norris Brown has come back in, and Chuck Jones out at a flanker. Charles Jr. and Lindsey Scott are the wide men. Dogs 2nd and 10 on their own 8. Below looking, throws to the sideline, dropped out of bounds by Charles Jr., reaching on the 18. Could have had a first down, he dropped it out of bounds. Third down, the Gators smelling a big, fat, juicy win here, unless something happens. Dogs running in another play off the side. Florida in a stand-up fire, they may or may not blitz, they won't. Buck back, third down on the 8, in trouble. Got a block behind him. Going to throw and a run, complete to the 25, to the 30. Lindsey's got 35-40. Lindsey's got 45-50, 45-40. Run, Lindsey, 25-20, 50, 10, 5. Lindsey stop. Lindsey stop. Lindsey stop.
If you want a miracle, we just got one. Incredible play. Lindsey Scott caught the ball around the 40. There were a couple of players that had an angle. He knew that he had to run as fast as he possibly could.
Well, I can't believe it. 92 yards, and Lindsey really got in a foot race. I broke my chair. I came right through a chair, a metal steel chair with about a 5-inch cushion. I broke it. The booth came apart. The stadium fell down. Now they do have to renovate this thing. They'll have to rebuild it now. This is incredible. Well, we might call time. We've only got a 5-point lead, and by the way, there's 1 minute and 3, and we got to give the ball back to those guys. I didn't mean to beg Lindsey to run, but I had to. 26-21 with a passing attack that wasn't working all day, and Lindsey caught it. I think the 25 or 30 or so. I don't remember now, but he was on a hash mark. That looks like a big wing tee to the right. We're going to flood the right side. Buck Bellew running, wants for 2. Fires too high. One for Lindsey Scott. Now Florida has got 63 seconds for their own miracle. We had a man wide, had 2 men in the slot, but they were 5 yards apart. And one running back, and we tried to flood it and go for 2. Sailing high around the 15-yard line. Janelle Brown to the 25 to the 30. And he slipped as he tried to cut on the 35 or 6, trying to get away from Bell. Greg Bell, who was diving at him and just hitting him. Now watch the Gators. 59 seconds. Looking at all those wideouts. Quarterback piece coming back. No pressure this time. Over the middle, too high. Intercepted on the 42. Here comes Mike Fisher, 45-40. They count him from behind. Mike Fisher, a senior, intercepted the ball down the middle. He's out of Jacksonville, Florida, and the Dogs have got the ball. Mike Fisher jumping, running over toward the Georgia stands in the band, waving the football. Peace went back for the first time with not a lot of pressure. Threw it down the middle, and we had 2 men in there. First time he really had a lot of time to throw. And Mike Fisher, out of Jacksonville, Florida, a senior, 6 foot 173, intercepted and sprinted at about 15 or 18. 49 delicious seconds to go. 26-21 on a miracle below to Lindsey Scott. And now the Dogs, who may have snatched one out. We go into a full-house backfield. Buck Bellew curls in the ball, and Herschel Walker drops on top of him to protect his body. Right there, and there's a flag down on the play, so the clock did not move. There was a flag down the play. We didn't gain anything on that one. Full-house backfield, everybody hugging Buck Bellew. He deliberately took a 2-yard loss to the 44. Look at the clock. Will you look at that clock? Strong, beaten, knocked out of the ranks of the unbeaten, not throwing sharp all day, and there it was to Lindsey down the middle for roughly 20 or 25, and off he went. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dogs have won it, 26-21. Pandemonium here. Georgia's won it by 5 points when the Gators had it in the pocket, and the zipper had closed. There you were, sitting down on the 8, third down, 3rd and 10, when he rifled it down the middle out around the 30 or 35. Lindsey maybe 2 steps open coming back across the middle. I see a policeman down on the other side of the field on the 9-yard line. Somebody knocked a cop down. There's other cops gathered around him. It's going to be that kind of night, men. 26-21, Georgia's defeated Florida. Shockingly, stunningly unbelievable. Bill Schaefer going to wrap it up for you in 60 seconds.
Throw. Mitchell makes the catch. He breaks away. 30, 25, 20. Veers inside. 10 breaks the tackle. 5 breaks another one. Touchdown!